So I'm Rosalind Amoh, a journalist. I work with the Graphic Communications Group Limited as a deputy news editor. Before I became a deputy news editor, I was the sports writer with the Graphic Sports. I've been practicing it for 25 years since I graduated from GIJ in 1995. Did I really want to be in sports? Yes, I've always loved sports. It's my passion. It's part of me. Way back from school, I was into sports. And so when I got the opportunity to become something more than just a supporter or a fan of sports, I decided to branch off into sports journalism. When I started, I was the only one. Perpetual had just left the scene. And for some reason, because the media had not developed and broadened like that, the only media houses that people knew were the Daily Graphic or the Graphic, the Times, and then to some extent some of the private media houses, and then also television and radio. We didn't have so many television stations and radio stations, so obviously it was always GBC, the GBC brands. But it was challenging because one, people were not used to seeing women around, having women around. Unfortunately, my stature also did not help me. I'm quite small, and so people see you and they think that you are not competent, you are not capable. And so you always had to measure up to their expectation. Whatever a man would do, I mean, if you went on a field, you were expected to do twice as much as that to justify and let them be convinced. I remember, and I keep sharing those experiences. I was supposed to interview a very big man in the sports fraternity. My boss asked me to go to his office. I went all the way to his office. He looked at me and he said, "Look, you are not experienced enough, you are not known enough to interview me, and therefore I will not grant you the interview." I felt belittled. I felt that the person had taken my intelligence and my competence for granted. I pleaded with him for almost an hour. He said no. So I came back to the office and I told my boss that, well, this is it, but I am expecting that you will stand by me. If you let any other person go to talk to him, then it means that I can never be able to learn on the job and I will not do it again. Thankfully, my boss, he called my boss and my boss told him that you either talk to her or nobody else. He came to he had to drive all the way back to the office. We had the interview. I did the story, and the next day he called and he was amazed that, I mean, he didn't know that I was that capable of doing it. Much as I felt upset by that, I realized that it wasn't going to be an easy or a stroll in the park. You always needed to be the one to prove to them that beyond what they see, what they hear, you have that much brain to match up to them when it comes to sports journalism. Because don't forget, everybody thinks that sports is a men's world. For me, I think that they are there. Society would always put some kind of impediments in your way. It is what you believe in, what you want to achieve, and what you're focusing. Thankfully, you have a right, like everybody else, to pursue whatever you want to do. You will get the support. A lot of us women, I mean, when you come to Ghana, I always say that we don't have many women high achievers in sports. When they even get the opportunity to leave Ghana to go and enhance themselves, get better, we don't get them coming back to share their stories because of some of the frustrations and the stresses they went through. But I think that as for the platform, now it is there. It is for us to, and please, we shouldn't expect that it is going to be presented to us on a silver platter. It will never be presented to us on a silver platter. Because this thing about equity, equality, and after Beijing, people still are not too comfortable with it. But it is for you to prove that you are capable and competent and you have what it takes to grab it. And so I always say that it is not about how you look. Appearance is important because it gives you the confidence. But more importantly and significantly, it is the brain and what you have in there. I mean, enhance yourself, educate yourself, and make sure that you are good at what you do. And I have no doubt at all that once you do that, you will earn the respect and integrity that people have to give you, because in that job, you are an authority. I am Rosalind Amoh. I choose to challenge.